Hello, it is Friday, July 9th, 2021. I'm Chris Remo, and this is my New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. Now, yesterday I said I was nervous going into a Thursday puzzle, and it turned out I was reasonably right to be so. And today is a Friday puzzle, which means it is more difficult, although not yet the most difficult day of the week, which is tomorrow, Saturday. So let's see what that has in store for me. Are you ready to get started? It asked. And I suppose I am. So let's start solving here. Now, a spelunker's aid may very well be a rope. Spelunking is sort of cave diving. So let's see. This American Life and Others are podcasts. So I think I'm going to immediately back out of this. This is why, particularly, I suppose on any day, really, I'll immediately start checking crosses when I put things in. And I think podcast is a surer guess than rope because spelunkers must have a number of aids. But I don't know what the other ones are. So let's look here. Home of the Polka Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, I do not know where this is, certainly, but it is 4 letters and it ends with an O. So it could well be a U.S. state. It could be Ohio. Let's look at some crosses and see if we can confirm or deny that. A shouted greeting could be ahoy. I'm trying to think of things that would fit with Ohio. Let's try that out and see what happens. A word with air or square. Sorry, I was distracted for a moment, moving the microphone. Spelunker's aid. For some reason, I want to say is a hasp. I don't know. I don't know if I'm confusing my terminology here. Olympics Hall of Fame. So this is clever. So we've got the Polka Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And then here with a question mark, meaning a sort of punny answer, we've got the Olympics Hall of Fame, and a hall meaning a load, essentially. And I think what that means is gold medals. Let's see if we can look at any of that via the crosses. So now we've got Box on Broadway with an OG in the middle of a 4-letter word. Now, what would that be? Box on Broadway. Is that loge? Is that a name for... That's some kind of theater seating, I think. And a spelunker's aid would be a lamp. Okay, and then here we go. A word with air or square is a mile. Air mile or square mile. Images that are nice and easy to look at are eye candy. It helps make waiting easier. A tray. This would mean not so much waiting as something that involves not doing anything for a period of time, but rather the tray that a waiter would use to serve you. Common night school class for short. This is ESL, English as a Second Language. When you see for short, you know that it'll be an abbreviation of some kind, an abbreviation or contraction. And ESL comes up not infrequently as a crossword clue, English as a Second Language. Went for, opted for. Led the way could be opened, as it, if a band opens for another band, or something like that. Interpret the parts of is to parse. And so that makes opened look a lot more likely. And let's look at a cross here. A move named for the 19th century skater Paulson. So this is another eponomic clue this week. We had Jules Leotard, I think yesterday, and now we've got another move that I suppose in a ballet context might be performed in a leotard, although maybe it's not called an axle when it's ballet. Anyway, I think this is axle. People-powered vehicles could be paddle boats. Are there other forms of paddle vehicles? I mean, there are pedal cars and paddle boats. Let's jump back up to here. A skill for a good physician. I think this is going to be bedside manner. And a big wheel at a party. Now, my first thought would have been some kind of cheese or something, a big wheel at a party, because it's got a question mark. I don't know offhand. Let's keep going. Millennia could be eons, because it's millennia plural as opposed to millennium singular, so we know that it's going to be a plural here. So we don't want a 4-letter word, we want a 3-letter word with the plural suffix. Keep on keeping on. It's too general for me to take a guess at with a long clue at this point. Heritage, though, is roots. A big wheel. It is a cheese. It's brie. Why didn't I think of that? For some reason, I saw 4-letter, thinking it was a cheese, and went to Edam for some reason, although brie is, I would say, much more of a party cheese than Edam. It's sort of the quintessential party cheese, in fact. Some TripAdvisor listings are inns. Keep on keeping on. Could this be don't give up? Okay, very well could be. Let's look at some of the crosses. Let's jump back up to this long one just to see. Accept things as they are. I don't know. Let's move on. Nurse's office supply. So what does a nurse need? Masks? I mean, we all know that now, that's for sure. Pipettes, hypos. No, I'm not getting it. I'll move on. Sport that made its first Olympic splash in 1904. That's a pretty overt clue with splash, so it'll be diving. A peace of mind, question mark, and peace is spelled as a component part of something rather than peace, the state of tranquility. So what does that mean? Axon or something like that, a sort of neurological component, but that doesn't fit. I don't know. Let's move on. Come back to it. Stretched out. Now, this could be taught. I don't know that taught. I guess taught essentially does mean stretched out. In order for something to be taught, it must be stretched out. So even though they're not synonyms, something that is stretched out is not necessarily taught, but something that is taught is stretched out. And so it's a little iffy, but let's put it in and look at the crosses. Downtown Abbey daughter. Edith. Okay. Irrational thing to celebrate. Here's another question mark. Here's another pun clue. A lot of those today. But I don't know what it is, so let's look at this other cross. Oxymorphone, for one. Now, this will be some sort of chemical component, and I'm going to guess, I don't know what this is, but I'd be willing to bet it's an opiate. To pump up could be to hype, I think. I'm not sure about this irrational thing to celebrate, so let's keep looking around. EpiPens is a nurse's office supply. Okay, well, I think I know both of these. Peace of mind here is idea. And irrational thing to celebrate is Pi Day, because Pi Day is a celebration of an irrational number, pi. That is very clever. Journalist Eiffel, who is depicted on a postage stamp in 2020. I did not know she was on a stamp, but I do know of the journalist Gwen Eiffel. To accept things as they are is to go with the flow. A skier's problem. A glade, perhaps? A sort of copse of trees? That feels a little iffy to me, but I'm going to go with it because this area is getting pretty filled out. If one doesn't surrender, one... I'm a little nervous about that glade. I don't think it's a glade because look at this. What would have a DH? And in fact, I already know what that other clue is, so let's get rid of that. This biblical birthday gift is myrrh. What are the goes? Gold, frankincense, and myrrh? Are those the three Magi's gifts? Now, myrrh, I remember to be a funnily spelled word with, I think, 2 H's in it. I think it might be something like this. Let's check the crosses. I don't know what that skier's problem is. Light brown seals, I don't know. Folk rock band with 2 1965 #1 hits with the. So when it says with the, what it means. Oh, sorry, throat. Excuse me, I don't know. I've really had some throat issues recently, and I'm getting slightly worried about it, to be honest, but not today's problem. What this means when it says with the means you need to put the before the answer in order for it to be accurate. So this will be the something, probably the somethings. Oh, the birds, of course. Okay. You can see right through it. This will be a lens with which you can see right through. Goes to hell with a question mark. Descends, perhaps? I mean, that almost doesn't even need the question mark. Most milk toast E. I don't really like that sort of invented adjective by sticking a Y on the end of it. You could do better. You could come up with a word that doesn't need to be turned into a non-word, I would say. A master negotiator. I don't know. Most milk toasty. So this would be the sort of most banal or the plainest or the neither of those is really accurate, but the most typical or ordinary. What would this be? I mean, it will probably end with EST. So let's jump over here and put that in and see if it helps. An ungenteel laugh is probably a snort. A mahjong set would be a set of tiles. Club alternatives. So I think this is referring to a club sandwich. These would be BLTs. Now, I think ordinarily you would expect BLT to be clued with either something that indicates an abbreviation with the abbreviation ABBR, or you would expect the clue itself to have an abbreviation such as club ALTs or something like that to indicate alternatives. But I think in this case, because BLT is so overwhelmingly the commonly used term for a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich, it has sort of transcended acronymity, if that's a word. It probably isn't. So I think that's why they don't clue the acronym. A line for a sleigh ride is a rein. The line's used to control the horses or reindeer. European royal capital, I assume this is Oslo. It could be St. Lo, but that's not a capital, so it's Oslo, I think. TV journalist Baldwin. I don't know, but this looks like it could have the name Brooke. And of course, a master negotiator is a closer, the only one for whom coffee has been designated. Coffee is for closers, and closers are for 21 across. Oh, I see. Most milk toast is meekest. Okay, that's perfectly fine. On menus, it's often by the lobster. I don't know. Capital of the Philippines. All right, here's a little crossword tip for you. Often capital can refer to a number of things. But in this case, when it's paired with a country, often they will be a little cute. And what they mean by capital is they mean money. Capital as in capitalism, capital, finance. And so what this means is the money of the Philippines, which I believe is the peso. Let's see if we can confirm that. Organization with an Office of Air and Radiation. It's an abbreviation, so it's the EPA. Choice made while thinking, ugh. That's the lesser evil. The thing you choose when you're not so thrilled about it. A frozen character with antlers. I don't know. Over. This is probably anew. You do something over, you do it anew. Equanimity. Equanimity. Yeah, this seems like it should be very straightforward, but I can't think of it. I'm having a little brain freeze here. Israel Prime Minister between Rabin and Netanyahu. Oh God, I don't remember. I'm gonna kick myself when I see it, but I don't remember right now. Followed. Don't know. I'm running out of steam here. Follower of Oscar in the NATO alphabet. So even if we don't know this, which I don't remember if I do off the top of my head, we know that because it's an alphabet, the letter that must come after O must start with P, or at least it should. So we can at least put P into this clue. Now, what would it be? Oscar? I don't know. I'm sure plenty of people watching this know, but I don't remember. Snacks that drip. Could this be as simple as ices? Let's just put that in and see if we can do anything with the crosses. Kind of force. Don't know. International group that's well-financed. Aha! International group. Let's put the stress somewhere else in this clue. International group that's well-financed. What sort of international group would be financed by wells? Well, what about the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, which earn a great deal of money from taking oil out of wells that they've drilled? A head turner, I don't know what that is. Follower of Oscar in the NATO alphabet. P. It's got a P in it. Papa? It must be Papa. That sounds right to me. Oh, kind of force. I don't know. All right. Let's look at some of the clues we haven't looked at yet. There must be some we haven't even seen. Here, for instance, sassy. Could be pert. I don't know. Slot machine bonus. Now, there's no question mark on this. So it should be fairly straightforward. Free spin? Is that a thing that you can get from a slot machine? A free spin? Head turner. Oh, head turner is a neck. Sometimes they fake you out with something that seems like it should be a little more off the path than you'd assume. Oh, a kind of force. What? A task force, I guess. Yeah, okay. A charming vulnerability. Something spot. Let's look at this. Crawl. Could a crawl be a snail's pace? Oh yeah, it is. Wow. I went out on a limb there, but I was repaid. Charming vulnerability. I don't know. Followed. Healed? Is that like if you're at heel, I don't know. Not fair, declares this clue and answer. Did some crew work. Could that be oared? A crew is in the sport rowing, essentially. Oared, I think that's what that is. Group depicted in the 2015 biopic Straight Outta Compton. I didn't see the film, but no doubt that is NWA. 2X. Don't know. Doesn't surrender. Now this looks like it could be something too. Let's go back down here. 2X. Oh, twice, of course. I think this is healed, in fact. Oops. Let's see. It doesn't surrender. If he doesn't surrender, he... Why am I not getting that here? A skier's problem. Oh, glare from the sun. I was thinking about this completely incorrectly, and it's entirely my error. I was thinking of this as doesn't surrender, as in doesn't sort of give up the fight. But the reason that can't be the case is because the way you would say that would be doesn't surrender to his or her opponent, for instance. Whereas if you were to use this answer in that context, it would mean doesn't, how do I say this? Something's to the opponent, because there's already a to in here. And so once you add the to that's needed for doesn't surrender to, now you've got a doubled up to. So in fact, the type of surrender that this means is cede. It doesn't like abandon the thing you're possessing to somebody else. You don't cede it to them. You don't surrender it to them. So if you don't surrender your belongings, you cling to it. All right. Light brown seals. What is this? I don't know. I don't even know if this is the animal or if it means seal as in something that keeps something shut. But I don't know why. I just don't know. On menus, it's often by the lobster. Now we've got rice here, and rice is a food. So, oh no, it's not rice. Wow, that was a clever bit of misdirection. I wonder if that was intentional. It would be market price when something expensive like lobster does not have a fixed price on the menu, but is priced according to the daily market price. Oh wow, could this really sassy really be pert? My sort of example guess. Um, I still don't know this Israeli PM, which means I must just not. I must be missing that bit of knowledge. Um, a charming vulnerability. Would that be a soft spot? I suppose so. That would make this frozen character Sven, and that's a name, so that is perfectly plausible. Uh, yeah, it must be soft spot. So, oh, okay. Equanimity is poise, and then that makes the Israel PM Perez, which sounds right. So, all right, there we go. I feel as though this Friday time, well, not the time, but this this Friday solving has redeemed me from that rather embarrassing performance yesterday, and that was a fun one. I enjoyed it. Am I just saying that because I did reasonably well? No, I do think I enjoyed the puzzle, legitimately. I hope you've been enjoying these solves as well. If you have, let me know in the comments. If you want to subscribe to this channel, that would be great. I think in order to become a YouTube partner, as it turns out, I was clicking around the channel yesterday. I'm not a very experienced YouTuber. I need to accrue some 4,000 hours of viewer watch time, which to me seems unbelievably high given where I currently am. So if you want to give me a subscribe and help me work towards that goal, that would be great. But obviously, if not, don't worry about it. Thank you so much for joining me for these solves. I'll be back tomorrow for the most difficult puzzle of the week, Saturday, and we shall see how I do. Take care. Bye.